not to worry. Here's Bob in your life.
Greetings to the brightest audience in the country. Welcome to Bob and Your Live. I'm the pastor of Denver Bible Church. 17 years ago, we began reporting on a Denver Archdiocese Roman Catholic priest, Father Neil Hewitt, who had molested altar boys, kids in the schools that he was involved with. And in a moment, we will be talking with the cousin of one of those boys who then later left a handwritten letter to that priest, Neil Hewitt, and then committed suicide. So devastating. Next week, this story is going to break wide open. No longer will it just be on a Christian talk radio program, but it's going to break wide open, and everything we have reported in 17 years, including with another of the victims, Michael Smilanic. And this was all thanks to one of the members of Denver Bible Church, Donna Ballantyne, who brought this all to my attention. And we have Donna now on the phone. Donna, welcome back to Bob and Your Live.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, you're very welcome. Donna, your cousin committed suicide. We reported it. His handwritten letter he left behind is on the internet. It's easy to find, kgov.com/Hewitt, the name of the priest who molested all these kids. So could you share with us, remind us, because next week this is going to break wide open, but remind us what happened to your cousin Stuart.
Yeah, we were cousins. Our fathers were first cousins, so I was a distant cousin, but we were all a very close family. We lived in Leadville, Colorado, took a lot of family vacations together and things of that nature. Later towards the end of the 60s, unfortunately, Stuart's father passed away. And it was during that time, around there and shortly afterwards, that Neil Hewitt started molesting Stuart.
Oh, well, when Stuart's dad died, this priest, he had been a priest in the Denver metro area, and he was transferred up to the mountains to Leadville, where you guys lived. There's a Catholic church there. And so that's sort of like being sent to the Russian front. You know, I hate to use that analogy, but when you're in Denver and you're put up at 10,000 feet elevation where it's freezing cold, like, in other words, the Denver Archdiocese was moving him away from allegations to hide him. And when they did that, they were unleashing him, this predator, on innocent families who he could then victimize all over again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it continued for a while, and I remember this priest coming to my cousin's house, because I spent a lot of time with them. He would come to the house all the time, and they would go off and do things. And then I know we all felt that, oh, he's in good hands. His father just passed away. How great that this priest is, trying to help him through this healing process of grieving for his father at that age and things like this, of that nature. And then it stopped. He stopped going with him.
Well, Donna, if I could read some of this letter that your cousin left behind. After he wrote this, then sometime later, he committed suicide. He was a firefighter, a lifelong alcoholic. Yes. And when we first put this on the internet, I couldn't get myself, even though it's a scan and it's on a page, the vast majority of people will never see it, but it's on our kgov.com/Hewitt page. And it says right there, here, you could click here and read Stuart's tragic handwritten letter. But for years, we actually censored the letter. It's only 2 pages.
Right.
Because it's so horrific what he writes about just reminding Neil Hewitt what this priest did to him as a young boy. And nobody cared. Like, nobody cared. The Archdiocese, you and I We went repeatedly to the Archdiocese. The media did nothing, and we would report 50,000 watts on the most powerful Christian radio station in the country. Starting 17 years ago, nobody cared. Then, a few years back, we decided to put the letter on the website uncensored. Just the entire 2-page handwritten letter, and you can't read it on the air. You wouldn't, because it's so despicable, and it would violate FCC regulations, thankfully.
Yes.
But I'd like to read some of it.
Absolutely.
Okay, dear Neil, it's been 24 years since you sexually molested me. So this is to the Denver Archdiocese Roman Catholic priest, Neil Hewitt. 24 years since you sexually molested me. I also have been an alcoholic for 24 years. I don't know if there is a correlation time-wise, but I think so. I was young and vulnerable when this happened. My father had just died, and you were unhappy as a priest. You were fun to be around, hunting, flying. He had a pilot's license, right, Donna?
Yes, he did.
So he'd fly a small Cessna or something. Hunting, flying, building computers, and traveling. They went to Canada, right? Once they flew to Canada.
Yes, Michael went with him also to Canada.
Okay, and so was Michael Smilanic, another of the many boys that were victimized by Neil Hewitt. So Stuart continues, you always scared me by talking so much about sex and sin. You would always ask me before saying Mass, before they served Mass together, because Stuart was there. He was an altar boy.
Right.
If I had, and then sex acts, and if I needed to go to confession. You played sex tapes in the car when we traveled. So that's audio sex tapes.
Right.
I should have guessed something was up. Well, obviously, right? But he's a kid.
Right.
How old was Stuart when this started? Do you recall, Donna?
I'm going to guess probably around 13 or 14.
Yeah. I remember sleeping with you on a trip to Canada and waking up with you, and then, I'm not going to read the rest, sex act.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I was scared to death and afraid to move. Then in Sterling, a town in Colorado, you got me drunk on lime vodka, and you had the briefcase of pornography. Do you remember, and then I'm not going to read the rest, but he describes in terrible detail what Neil Hewitt did to him. Mm-hmm. Then there was the trip to Denver where you got 3 of us drunk again, and you climbed in my bed early in the morning, and I'm not going to read the rest of it. Mm-hmm. I could never go with you again after that because I couldn't trust you. So this is like the memories of someone whose life has been destroyed, and he's writing it as though he were his thoughts back then when he was a kid.
Right.
Like, I'm realizing I couldn't trust you. After you've done all these horrific sexual assaults on me, I'm realizing, hey, this is not good. What happened to me was tremendous guilt of going to hell. This was something I never talked to anyone about until I was 28 years old. I can never get close to another man in my life. I hate homosexuals, and I hate it myself. You represented religion, and religion was tied to my faith in God. I lost both. Yeah. I know you even asked my mom out on dates. And Donna, so many, we've reported on this for decades, so many homosexuals have previously been married and have kids even.
That's exactly right.
So this is behavior. This is behavior. Let's continue. Yeah. She knew your actions were immoral. When I was 22, I saw you at an airport. I wanted to kill you. I have had many emotional hang-ups over your perverted actions. I have isolated myself in life and only wanted to be around women. I would not make or associate with male friends. I don't feel you're responsible for my alcoholism, but you are a cause of a lot of my loneliness. So Stuart, at the beginning of the letter, he says he thinks there's the correlation. When you're a 14-year-old kid and the adult mentor in your life is getting you drunk, that's a pretty solid condemnation of that adult mentor.
Right. Yep.
So Stuart might be thinking of, maybe after his dad died, there were one or two times when he had a beer, hiding in the backyard that his mom didn't know about or something. But I think Neil Hewitt on Judgment Day will get the full brunt of God's wrath, including for turning Stuart into an alcoholic as a young teenager. He ends the letter, I can forgive you as you were sick and had a problem. I also have to forgive myself as I have carried a lot of hate and anger. So, and of course, Donna, the Roman Catholic Church doesn't teach what Jesus teaches about forgiveness. They don't teach, as Jesus taught, that you forgive someone who repents. If someone sins against you, Jesus said, rebuke him, and if he repents, forgive him.
Right.
If he repents. And the psychobabble teaching that if you forgive everyone automatically of everything, you'll be more healthy, that's not true.
No, it's not.
And here's yet another example.
Right.
Having to forgive a rapist who hasn't repented. No, that's not what the Bible teaches. And if people are interested in that, they could go to kgov.com/cliches or just kgov.com/forgiveness. So, Donna, what's happening now? Here we are, May 2019. I opened the show saying that this is going to break wide open. Do you think that's an exaggeration?
No. I was contacted this past Monday, and told that this story will break the middle of next week, I'm told. Mm-hmm. And it's devastating. And I just thank you, Bob, for your advice and your counsel and your direction 17 years ago. It's been long and it's been hard and it hurts, but now it will come out. So Thank you.
Oh, Donna, you're very welcome. We have concluded that there are 9 known and suspected victims of Neil Hewitt, and that will be part of the reporting, the number of victims. You being the cousin of one of those victims, second cousin, like you pointed out, you and I went to the Denver Archdiocese, and we had one question for them. And this was back when it was Chaput, but their stonewalling has continued. Is that correct, Donna?
Absolutely, even up to today.
Yes. So the Denver Archdiocese, back when they first got hit with some of the scandal, they took out these ads on radio and TV, I think in the newspapers, and they said, if you're a victim or you're a family member of a victim, please come forward. Please come forward. Please come to us. So it turns out that we know why, because you only got to talk to their lawyers, and all they were interested in was risk management. That's it. There was no contrition.
Right.
There was no repentance.
Correct,
there was
Bob.
no sorrow.
They were just sizing you up to see if there was a lawsuit coming.
Right, exactly right. So you and I asked the Archdiocese, we said we have only one question. Only one question. Were there accusations against Neil Hewitt before you moved him to Leadville, Colorado? Were there accusations? If there were no accusations, we told them, then the Archdiocese bears no culpability in what happened to Stuart, to your cousin, if there had been no accusations. But were there previous accusations? And they refused to answer the only question that you asked them. In fact, They wouldn't even say that they wouldn't answer the question. Remember the first Stonewall technique they used? The tactic, Donna, with you?
Yes, I do. That they are like the corporation IBM, and they have employees, and they don't give out personal information on their employees.
Mm-hmm.
It's a privacy issue. But they said in a case like this, they could not divulge any information because I was not immediate family. I was a cousin.
Yeah, they had to talk to parents, children, or siblings. That's what they told us. And lucky for them, there were no immediate family members in Colorado. So then, Donna, I think you and I took the logical next step. You contacted your cousin, Stuart's sister, who lived in Utah. And when she realized what you were doing, trying to get to the truth of this, she agreed. We flew her out here and set up an appointment immediately to go right back to the Archdiocese.
Yes, we did, and she did come.
And did they then forthrightly answer that question?
No. They could not provide her any information. It was private.
Right.
And they didn't divulge private information.
Right. So really the commercials that they ran, the Denver Archdiocese that they ran on radio and TV, they were lies. They were lies. It was for the purpose of meeting with their attorneys so they could evaluate their exposure to lawsuits. That was it. There was no contrition. Contrition means I'm sorry. And of course, I take responsibility for what I have done wrong. There was no contrition.
Absolutely not.
Right.
No,
and hence the anger.
Cover up.
And hence the anger of the priest, homosexual priest, child molestation scandal around the world and in so many cities in the U.S., and the anger of the victims and their family members and their friends, because we see that it's systematic and it's run like a business. It is not run like a church, and it has not been presided over by the vicar of Christ, by an actual representative of Christ on earth. In fact, the current pope is closer to an antichrist than to Christ. We have on our website, kgov.com/pope, our pope list, and it is absolutely horrific how wicked this pope is and how evil he's been throughout his entire career, which we document. And so hopefully people could understand the anger. So Donna, then Michael Smilanic, who has come forward, at first he was very hesitant. Of course, right? This is your life.
Yes.
And to have us use his name, but then he was willing. He was in studio. He met with you, with me. We talked over a long period of time until he was comfortable to come in. We wouldn't air the show unless everything that he said was exactly what he had intended to say. And, I think he became comfortable with us. And now, because of those interviews, the media also knows about Michael. But how is it that you got in touch first with Michael?
Michael actually got in touch with me. He sent me a private message and asked if he could speak to me, that he was a victim of Hewitt as well. And so, of course, we connected and spoke, and I got his story. I met him. He was very interested in Stuart's account of things, and he told me a lot of his. And of course, it's almost so identical to
what happened
stories
to Stuart.
and other
Donna,
stories.
Do you recall, and I don't think we ever told Michael this, that you and I and others in our group, there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, we discussed that because there are lawsuits and awards given in tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, that we can't just believe someone who comes forward and says to us, I was molested by Neil Hewitt. Do you remember all the time we put into that and doing due diligence in looking into the information that Michael could provide before we were confident enough that this is another true victim of Neil Hewitt?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because even, for our own responsibility to God, and don't bear false witness against your neighbor, and how important it is to vet the things that you share with other people privately, let alone then on the air when you have a few thousand people tuning in.
I believe that Michael also may have had that concern because he provided a lot of documentation of the school he went to.
Oh, he was awesome, yeah.
In Aurora. So I'm sure that weighed on his mind, too, thinking that, are they going to believe me in this? And absolutely I do.
Yeah.
So I would just urge everybody to keep listening to kgov.com and any breaking information.
Oh, yeah, Donna, we'll be all over it, right?
We'll be all over it. And
yeah, so we'll see how far and wide this report goes. Certainly it will be Colorado-wide. It should be another national story.
I feel that way, too.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for, wow, Donna, it's 17 years that we've been at this, you and I.
It's unbelievable, and times I think that it's just going to go away and somebody comes forward, but Bob, I can't thank you enough. You helped us get this started and staying with it, and hopefully now some people will be able to come forward, some closure for people, and
some accountability. Yeah. And Neil Hewitt knows what he did. In fact, it's all like I said, by next week, everyone should know that these are not allegations. This is all confirmed. And the Archdiocese, they should pay a penalty to the victims and to their family members. They should, of course.
Absolutely, to Michael and to Stuart's siblings and other victims. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. And this very well may bring the full names of the other victims forward. So, Donna Ballantyne, thank you so much for another sad show, but an important show.
Very important. Thank you, Bob, again, so much.
You're very welcome. Please tell your incredible husband that I said hello and your whole family. God bless you.
I sure will. Thanks, Bob.
And by the way, Donna's family, Mark, he shares the gospel with everything that moves, anything that breathes. If it doesn't breathe, I think he pumps it up and checks it out to see if he can share the gospel. He is the most amazing man. So, hey, this is Bob Enyart, our website, kgov.com. May God bless you guys. The Catholic Church here in Denver, the question is, if they knew that there was reason to believe he was a predator, and then if they unleashed him unsuspectingly on the families in Leadville, Colorado at the Annunciation Catholic Church there.
I would wish that they would be much more transparent about this rather than hiding behind and stonewalling, because I think that is a terrible disservice, and in a way it almost makes the victims feel guilty because it seems like they're not responding.
As the church stonewalls,
yes,
then it's once again the church is victimizing the same men once again.
I believe so. I mean, I read the letter that Father Chaput had written to
the Archbishop.
The Archbishop had written regarding Stuart and his sister, and I just felt I just felt sad that they didn't want to bring anything, any
no
admission.
help whatsoever.
Yeah,
right. And you know what? An answer of there were no accusations and we had no idea and we're so sorry. Mm-hmm. And we'd like to help. We'd like to be part of the healing process. That would be fabulous. Yeah. We had no idea. But they're not saying they had no idea. Maybe their attorneys are telling them if you lie, it will be worse.
Right.
So just stonewall.
Don't